Hey guys, I wanted to come to you today. I wanted to talk a little bit more about Revital U. This will be my second blog post. I want to tell you how amazing this product is. So, as we all know, Honeydew wound up in the emergency room on Monday night. Woke me up, shortness of breath, and chest pain. I immediately started taking him to the hospital. On the way to the hospital, and I'm not trying to make fun of him at all, but it's kind of funny how everything happened. He grabbed the left side of his chest and he said, "Oh." And in one breath he would be saying, "Oh, help me, you're not doing nothing for me, you're going to let me die. Do something, do something." So I called 911 and it rang to Milam County. Even though we was on Falls County side, it pinged off a Milam County tower. She transferred me, called over to Falls County. Falls County said, "Oh, well, this is a non-emergency line. You got to hang up and call 911 again." So this goes on the whole way from right about Burlington till we get to the hospital. They couldn't find us. But he's hollering. One minute he wanted an ambulance, one minute he didn't. "Oh, you're letting me die. You're letting me die." "No, I'm not letting you die. You're talking. You're not dying." So I get him to the hospital. When he woke me up, I just throwed on some clothes. The absolute worst clothes I owned. I kid you not. They were bad. They're what I use to feed the horses when it's all muddy. So we get in there and they get him hooked up, and little nurse comes in and she says, "Oh, we ran an EKG. It's a little bit bad, but not that bad." I said, "What do you mean a little bit bad?" I said, "It's a lot bad. I seen it. I just sat there and watched it. It's a lot bad." And she asked me, she said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm his wife." She says, "Oh, okay. Well, we're going to run another one. We're going to give him 10 minutes, run another one." 10 minutes, they ran another one. She comes in. "Well, I'm getting the doctor to come in." Here comes this little young doctor, ER doctor. He said, "Well, it's not bad, but he's having a cardiac issue." And I said, "Okay, so what are we going to do?" "Well, I don't know, the nurse. I don't know yet. I don't have a game plan. The nurse will be in." So here comes the nurse about 30 minutes later, going to do another EKG. Now, mind you, this is the third one. She said, "Oh, it's still a little abnormal, but not bad." I said, "It shouldn't be abnormal at all." And she said, "Who are you?" Now, mind you, it's the same nurse that done asked me this. So I told her I'm his wife. He tells her she's my wife. She leaves, comes back in, and says, "Well, EKG's a little abnormal. We're going to release you and send you home." He's complaining of shortness of breath. He's having chest pain, and he has an abnormal EKG, and you're going to send him home. She said, "Ma'am, who are you?" Same nurse says, "Ma'am, who are you?" I said, "I am some hooker he picked up off the street." The fight was on. Anyway, we get him admitted at like 6:30 that morning. And they decide, well, he's had a minor heart attack. Troponin levels are elevated. Everything's out of whack. In one breath, Honeydew is laying in the bed hollering at me, "Mama, you're letting them kill me. They're killing me. They're killing me." And then the next minute he's telling me, "Be nice to them. They can't help it. Be nice to them. They can't help it." So anyway, I told him, I said, "I'm going to work. I have to go to work." So when he had woke me up at 1 o'clock in the morning, I did not grab my Revital U. And I always thought prior in this last year, I've never went without it, but in the last year I was like, "Oh, well, if I ever have to, I can skip a day or two." Y'all do not want to see me without this Revital U. It is not pretty. Because I like strong coffee. I like truck stop coffee. I said it in my last video. I got to work. I was like a wounded rhinoceros with an infected pecker. I kid you not. You could not stand to be 10 feet away from me. And I remembered, my friend, my sweet, sweet friend, had gave me some that she didn't use. I made a beeline out to that truck, and I come in and made me 2 cups of it, which was a mistake. Don't ever do that, y'all. Don't ever drink 2 cups in one day. But I drank my Revital U, and I called the hospital. He was stable. I pulled a 14-hour shift. Now, mind you, I've been up since 1:30. Pulled a 14-hour shift. When I got off, went by the hospital to check on him, and went home. Slept like the dead. I get up the next morning, drink my Revital U, and I can make it through the day. We had 3 pretty good days at the hospital after the initial ER. So the nightmare comes on our very last night. He starts calling me. And that particular day, I had got canceled at work, so I spent the day with him. I had a great day. I was with him when they took him into surgery, and I was with him when they brought him back in the room. But he starts calling me, and he said, I haven't got my supper. And I said, well, Billy, I left there at 5 o'clock, and they said they would bring you something. I said, it's now 8 o'clock. He said, yeah, I haven't got my supper, and they won't let me out of bed. I said, well, you was only supposed to have to stay in bed for 5 hours. I said, you should have, we got back in his room about 12:15. He should have been able to get up at 5 o'clock. This is 8 o'clock at night. So he calls me like 10 times. Hadn't ate, hadn't had his medicine. Medicine was supposed to be given no later than 9. They had put him on a medication to regulate his heart, and they had put him on Plavix, blood thinner and stuff. And so at 15 to 10, I call her. And I call and I ask for his nurse. An hour later, 11:05, I get to talk to her. She immediately gets an attitude. And I said, well, I need to make sure these orders are straight. He hasn't eaten. So that makes all day he hadn't eaten. And he's not NPO. He can eat. She said, well, I don't know about that. I'll have to check on it. And I said, well, can you check on it and let me know? Waited 3 hours, no phone call back. Needless to say, I get up at 4 o'clock that morning and head to the hospital. So I go through the Whataburger, get him breakfast, because I know what his doctor had told me. And I get there, and I get his breakfast fixed, and I call to talk to the nurse, and she has a damn attitude. Thank goodness I had drank my Revital U. So I held my composure the first 30 minutes of our conversation. I said, did you get his diet orders straight? She said, well, it looks like he's eating. I said, because I brought him breakfast. Well, then I guess I got his diet orders straight. No, I brought him breakfast. That don't mean you got the orders straight. I said, did you look and see when he can get up and walk? Well, he didn't even get to his room till 10:15. I said, what? Where did he go? Well, he had a procedure yesterday on his heart. Yes, I know. I was with him. But we got back in the room at noon, at 12:15. Not 10:15 at night. Oh, no. So she argues with me. I said, oh, yeah. And I said, if y'all done a procedure during the night and didn't notify me, then there's a problem. She gets on the computer. How that computer even works now, I don't know. Banging and clanging and throwing a fit. And she's all tatted up, got tattoos on her neck. And so she said, oh, well, I don't know about that. I don't know what time he had his procedure. Okay, number one, you was his nurse for 12 hours last night. And you don't know what kind of procedure he had, when he had it, or nothing? Come on. How bad is that? So I said, well, our doctor said we could go home today. I said, I need to make sure that CVS in Cameron is our pharmacy. Well, you'll have to tell day shift. I said, no, I'm telling you. You look on that computer and make sure it's in there. So she bangs on the computer, looks again. She turns to me and she said, it was already in there. Thank you. I said, well, I'm sorry it was such a bother for you to look that up, but I have to make sure. She turned to me, threw 2 fingers up, and walked out the room. I said, oh my gosh. this freak show that's supposed to be my husband's nurse done throw the gang sign at me. That is not acceptable. It's not acceptable for a nurse to be all tatted up, have crazy hair, and talk to patients like they're ignorant. So, here she goes. Away she goes. I left her alone. Honeydew ate his breakfast, got everything ready. I told him, I have to go to work. I'll be there to get you when I get off, because who knows when they're going to release you. I am leaving. I'm not even acknowledging her. I'm walking by the nurse's station. She yells out to me, I don't even want to talk to you. Well, hold up, heifer. I wasn't talking to you. So then I reported it to the charge nurse, reported it to administration, and they just passed it over. They thought it was okay. Well, she was busy last night. I don't care how busy you are. You don't threaten a family member. You don't talk to patients like that. Honeydew never got his medicine till 10:30 that night. You can give it an hour before and an hour after. That's the rights of medication. Hour before and an hour after. It was due at 9. She didn't give it till 10:30. She was out of parameters. Gonna tell him I can give it when I want to, just so I give it to you. No, you can't. That's not the way things are done. This hospital thinks it's okay. They think it's okay for these nurses to act like this. It's not acceptable. But I could sure tell the difference in dealing with the ER on no Revital U and dealing with this woman with my Revital U. Thank goodness I had drank my Revital U, because I think I would have ripped her head off. I really do. You know, we made it home, made it through this horrible, horrendous hospital experience. Felt like we was in a freak show, or it was October 31st at Halloween, but we made it. I could not have had the energy. I couldn't have had the mental focus. I couldn't have made it through without my Revital U. The comments are below, and the link below is how to order it. Thanks, guys. Hope you liked my post.